Okay, so this is the segmentation tutorial on simvascular. So I'm going to go ahead and load my images and my path as well. So here we go, loading the image. And it'll show up there. There it is. And then we're going to go ahead and load the path as well that I created in the last tutorial. And if we go to, you can see it paths there, hit the plus sign, the aorta. And that's the path that I created in the last tutorial. Just loaded it. So now segmentation is a way to it's like creating, how do I say it? The goal of these techniques is to identify objects or structures within an image in like an automated fashion. So here we're going to segmentation, we're going to 2D group structures. And I'm clearly having some trouble with the program here. It's a little tough when my computer screen doesn't display. But basically, I couldn't figure out how to get groups to work because the tutorial, as you see, there's groups and create vessel, general and create vessel there. And it displays the groups, and there's general, and there's an easy create group button, create new group. And the software that we have is a different version than the tutorial, so I couldn't create a group to start out with. I figured it out later in the tutorial. It's not the way that this simvascular says to do it on this old version. They changed it, and it's not as straightforward. I'll go through that later in the video, but we're just going to go right back into it now and into visualizing segmentations. So here we are, branch controls. Here you go, show paths. Oh, okay. So I messed up here. You got to select the current path. Sorry, I do these voiceovers after I've done the video. So now we're going to go select current path, aorta, and that's because I haven't selected it in the path itself. But there it goes. And the intensity probe will appear at the end of the path. It'll show up pretty quick. There it is. And so that's going to give us a view of the lumen as we move down this path that we have. You can see moving the current position moves it up and down the path and up and down the lumen is what we designed there, that path. So what we did there is we said show 2D and 3D slice. And so those pop up there, and so that's the 2D and the 3D. And one's 2D intensity, one's 2D potential. You'll see that in the bottom right of each of those things there. I'm going to circle them. Yep, 2D intensity, 2D potential. And now if you go to views and parallel projection, it gives you all the data of where you are. The value of the pixel under the cursor, the magnitude of the gradient will show up. So now we're going to threshold. And we're going to enter the values there. So this now is, the title of this, using thresholding to define a contour. We're going to go to threshold, threshold, and you can see our contour shows up in blue there. go to, that was selected threshold. Yeah, and this is, I'm just illustrating, this is again a difference in the software. I don't have that. That says center. It gives me a value for the center and where it is, and I don't have that. It's in another tab. I don't know which tab it's in, but it's not in the threshold tab. Anyway, though, you can get that little center to show up. You see that little green circle? That's my center. It's called the initialization sphere. And now I'm just changing threshold values, and you can see it varying, so you can play around with that. And now I'm just going to show, oh, here's the center. It's in the level set area. And that's the radius. So if I change these, and this is showing, this is the blur feature. Close the, this is the blur and the KTHR, and the blur controls the image blur, the feature image, and the advection image. If your image has a lot of noise, increasing these values can improve accuracy. The Cuther is the equilibrium curvature value of the set, and a higher value will result in less curvature smoothing. And then if we look down, we've got the stage 2 parameters, and I'm playing with them there, and that's the blur and the cup. And the cup and the close specifies the maximum tolerance curvature. Stage 2 has a specific allowable range for curvature. When the curvature is too low, the level set will grow and shrink the front to obtain an allowable curvature. So now I selected the stage 2 edge. You got to make sure you're selecting either stage 1 or stage 2, and I selected stage 2 there because we were working with the stage 2 parameters. So now we're going to show manual, and this is how to segment an image manually. This is pretty useful. You want to make sure that the parallel projections are turned on, and the create a contour as the level set is checked. So to get a good image of the lumen, I went with 19. You can change it. They had it at 0, but my 0 isn't a really good view of that, the aorta there. And now what you're going to do is you select that thing, you select one of the windows. So I selected the left window by clicking on it, zooming in and zooming out. And then you're going to go ahead and draw a circle around it, and each time you move your mouse, you're just going to make it around the shape that you want, and click A every time all the way around until the final one you press C to close the path. And you got to make sure, so I was having some problems here, you got to make sure that when you close the path, so I cleared the window, I'm playing with it. So this now, I have a fix for that. Usually when you close the path in the last part, it'll create a closed path. I got a fix for that later in this. So this is how to just make a circle or make. So this is how to make a circle or make an ellipse. So there they are. So that's make circle, radius of 2. You got to make sure your display options, your level set segmentation is clicked. So that was the reason my path wouldn't close, is because I didn't have segmentation checked. As you can see, I'm changing the radius for make circle. This is in analytic. You got to make sure create contour as level set is turned on, and you can move it back and forth using X and up and down using Y. You can see I'm just trying to get it about right there. And I think I paused the video, and now we're going to go make an ellipse. And it's the exact same thing. You can change the size of the ellipse. The circle is going to be a perfect circle. Ellipse, you can change the height and width of it, and its position using X and Y. So I just kind of fool with it, try to get it about right. And so that looks pretty good. I would use that there. And so as you change the current position, this is how to copy and paste that ellipse to a different position. This is pretty useful if you got a pretty straight path. So we're going to go paste and see, there it is. So it's at 41. There's that ellipse. It's not perfect, but just for example, this is what you would do. And so was at 41 and 31. Now I'm going to clear the window completely. I'm going to go to level set, make sure segmentation is on. So here I'm making the path, clicking A every time. A. And once I get to the end, I'm going to hit C. And there it is. There's my path. Hit C to close it. There's my contour. Now, if we wanted to make it look better, we're going to smooth it. So you're going to go over to Fourier Smooth. This is under the Smooth tab. Enter a value of 4 and hit Smooth. And there it is. It's all smoothed out. Looks good. And you can scale it, make it bigger. So I hit 2. The mistake I was making is I wasn't hitting scale by. So I'm in Smooth, typing in 2 to scale by. But I'm not doing it right though, because I'm not actually hitting scale by. So we're going to enter a value of 1, so that's the actual size. And now if we want to make it bigger, you got to enter 2, and then hit scale by, and boom, it's bigger. And you want to make it back to the actual size, you're going to go 0.5. Half of 2 is 1, and then it's our original contour again. So in order to translate it, which is just moving it, see I moved it 0.5. See, and the important thing here is if you go 2 and then 0.5, it's going to move at 2.5. So I'm going to need to enter a value of negative 2.5 to get it back to the original place. That translates pretty simple. You just got to keep that in mind. If you go 2 and then 0.5, go back negative 2.5. You can also do a fit circle under this smooth thing, and there, yeah, you fit a circle, and it's not perfect, but just an example of what you can do. And here I'm just going to highlight once again, this here is important. If you do a fit circle after a manual thing, you can't change it from the fit circle. You got to redo it. So what I did, I closed simvascular, reopened it, and that was that. I closed it, reopened it, and remade this manual setting here. So I'm going back to my helpful tutorial. So it's a little different. It says add current segmentation to group, and there is groups up here. This was before I figured out how to add a group. So starting it over here, and I believe I'm going to show you this. So there's my path. I've loaded my path, loaded my image. We're going into segmentation. We're going to go select current path. So now we can display it. There's the path. There's the intensity probe. So we're back to where we were. And now this is how you add a group. So you go to Surface Operations and select the 2D group, and we're going to call it aorta. So that's how you do it, rather than there was a create group in the other, the original tutorial. This one you have to go to Surface Operations. here we are showing current path. And 27, 27, so I added that. And now we're going to go at 40. Making our way around this, making another contour. So what we're doing is adding these contours to the group in order to add them to the group. Here I believe I got sidetracked. So there's my nice thing at 40. I smoothed it. I contoured 40. And then current path aorta, and we're going to go to level set, just as I did with 27, and hit add to group. And there it is. And as you can see, that's at 40. There's 40 on there. And it's starting to create a segment there. I see, I can zoom in a little bit. You see the segment between at position 27, position 40, and it segments those two contours that we drew and puts them together. And so there's that. Oh, you want to select local set segmentation. And it will allow us to see as we've moved down everything in between. See, the circles are at 40 and 27. Go ahead and draw here. This is batch and smoothing, and so batch is a useful tool. Make sure we're in level set here. I prefer manual for this particular case, but you can, if you wanted to do batch, just make a batch all the way down this path. So I've selected 20, 30, 40, 50, and the only reason I didn't like this as much is because add to group didn't work. So I would make this 20, 30, 40, 50, and it's just going to go ahead and do its thing. So it does this automatically. So here it goes. This is the program working. And there we got value. We got a thing at 20, 30, 40, and 50. So if we zoom in, you can see all those positions, those blue circles are at 20, 30, 40, and 50. But if you click add to group under the batch and smoothing option, so as you can see there's a red circle at each one you pass there, 20, 30, 40, 50, as well as 27 and 40 are original ones in the group. However, I couldn't add them to the group, and so that's why I chose not to. This is I'm highlighting. You can add them to the group. In the tutorial, you just click add to group. We come back to simvascular, and right there, add to group checked, and they're not in there, and so there's got to be a fix for that. I haven't figured it out yet, but it's alright because you can use manual, and that's what I'm going to do for this tutorial. If we want to, yeah, and I'm just going to display. You can go 50, 80 by 10, same deal, and it's going to go 50 through 80 every 10, and so here it's about to do its thing. Yep, there it goes, creates a path down it, and it's working. Creating a circle, yep, and so there it goes. So that's pretty useful. Works a lot faster than doing it manually. You can see there's a red circle, pretty well outlined of what we're going for there, the lumen. So we're moving down the aorta here, and so we moved all the way down, and I did manual because I couldn't figure out how to add these to the group via batch segmentation. So I just did manual at all those points, at all those positions that you see under my group, and went all the way down to as far as I thought was necessary. And to see how we did, you're just going to click point cloud and compare it, and it looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but for the part of the aorta we were pursuing, and then going down the left side, which is what I was going for there, pretty good. I didn't get the final pieces there. It gets a little trickier at the end, But that's a pretty good outline. And so you can check that via point cloud. And so we're going to go ahead and save this surface under our simvascular folder. Make new folder. We're going to call this our groups folder at some point here. So this is the portion of the tutorial showing you once you've done all this. It's taken a while to do that whole manual thing and save it all the way down. So you want to save it in a folder. I called it groups. So then I close simvascular and I want to show you how to load it. So load surfaces. We're going to go to our folder called groups. So there's our group. Go to group visualization. Sorry, we select aorta. That was the group that we created. Go to group visualization and display groups. And so there it is. There's our segmentation thing. We just created that and then we saved it and loaded it. I tried to display the path and can't do it. I will try to have a fix for that in the next video. I'm going to document it here. Couldn't display the path, but there is our segmentation down the aorta.